Dual enrollment for dual credit is an opportunity for students to take collegiate level courses while they are still in high school. And the great thing about dual enrollment for dual credit, just as the name suggests, the students are going to get high school credit as well as credit towards their collegiate journeys. And so those credits will be transcribed on their high school transcript and their college transcript.
The reason why I attended the dual enrollment programs is really because not only will I be able to get college credits, but I'll also be losing a class or two to be getting forward to my degree in computer science. So it's kind of like the reason why I wanted this, but also to experience college courses and interact with one and another of my peers.
I decided to participate in dual enrollment because it's a good opportunity to start college early, to get a head start with my credits, and to basically help me out in the long run when I do go to college.
Our school counselors are an amazing resource. They're actually the liaison at our local schools to push the dual enrollment for dual credit program. So I'm at the district level, but our school counselors are the ones that are putting their feet to the ground to ensure that the students are well aware of this opportunity, and any questions the students may have, they are the local school professionals on the dual enrollment for dual credit program in the Montgomery Public School System.
Dual enrollment will benefit my future academic and career goals because it advances me when I get to college, because I will already have different courses done that I will need to have done in college.
After completing dual enrollment, I will be taking over to the next semester and taking Spanish as a course at Auburn University.
The great thing about the Montgomery Public Schools dual enrollment for dual credit program is as long as the students meet the eligibility criteria, cost is absolutely nothing for them.
Good afternoon. The August 13 regular meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Education will come to order. It is 5:00 p.m. I'd like to thank each of you for joining us this evening. Please do remember to mute all electronic devices. A majority of the voting members, that's 4 persons, shall constitute a quorum for a meeting of this Board of Education. There are 6 members present. I declare that a quorum is present. Our agenda was posted in Assembly, has been made available for our review. There is one change that we'd like to make, and that is to pull the middle school MOU from our regular agenda and add it to our work session. At this time, the amended agenda we would like to adopt by unanimous consent, that is, without a vote. Is there objection to accepting the amended agenda? Is there objection? Hearing none, the amended agenda has been adopted by unanimous consent. Board members, neighbors, and friends, I'm delighted to welcome you to another school year. New beginnings are filled with excitement and possibilities. This year is no exception. It's a time for fresh starts, not just for our students, but also for teachers, administrators, support staff, families, the Board of Education, and our entire community. Your incredible support has been the backbone of our district, and we are truly grateful. From back-to-school bashes to convocation, summer camps, professional development, school tours, and welcome back activities, your involvement has set the stage for the successful year ahead. The energy and the enthusiasm that we have seen across this city has been inspiring. We've already celebrated many successes, and while challenges are inevitable, we are ready to tackle those head on together. Yes, this is a year of possibilities and dreams. It's a new season of growth, learning, and opportunity. Let us come together to kick off this season in grand style with a shared commitment to excellence and a collective belief in the potential of every student. As we embark on this journey, let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration and innovation that defines our community. Here's to a year filled with achievements, resilience, and unforgettable moments. Together, we will make this school year our best one yet. As we move forward, embracing change that will shape tomorrow, it is my pleasure. I am not going to do that because I realized as I was moving forward that I missed some very important points in our opening. So I'll save that last statement for later. We did the call to order. The most important part of this night, I'd like to introduce Reverend Booker McMillan to please come to the front and lead us in our invocation. Got too excited.
Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we thank you for this day and all that it has offered. We thank you in advance for what all tomorrow will bring. Thank you for this mantle of servanthood. Bless all that are assembled here tonight that we may do even greater works for you. Keep us forever mindful of the calling that we've been called to for our children, for our parents, for our community, our city, this board, and all those that they govern. We place them in your hands, and your hands are most capable. And where there's confusion, give us direction. Where there's chaos, give us calm. Where there's division, give us direction. And where there's faith, where there's fear, give us faith. Give us the wisdom to lead in the way that will bring glory and honor to your name. And it is in that name, and that's the name of Jesus, that we do pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend McMillan. Reverend McMillan is the Associate Pastor of First Baptist Church, Greater Washington Park. Now will you join us in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, as we move forward embracing change that will shape tomorrow, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a new member to our team, our in-house attorney, Attorney Erica Powell. Is Attorney Powell in the room? Do you mind standing? Would you like to greet us, Ms. Powell?
Good evening, everyone. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Brown, it is an honor to be here with you guys tonight. It is also an honor and a privilege to serve the families in the community of the Montgomery Public Schools. As a product of Montgomery Public Schools, I am humbly gracious of this opportunity. And so I would just like to say thank you, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the family. Now we will receive board recognitions from Mrs. Jade Jones. Ms. Jones.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Brown, and members of the board. Tonight is an honor to kick off our recognitions with honoring community heroes who supported our children by greeting them on the first day of school. Madam President, Mrs. Rochelle Tyus, Mrs. QB Ray Hayes, and the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta, the Montgomery Alumni Chapter, along with a host of churches, community organizations, and other volunteers, they dedicated their time, and organizational skills to welcome back our students. Mrs. Tyus, Ms. Hayes, and the members of Montgomery Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and others, we want to thank you for taking your time to put smiles on our students' faces, yes, even the high schoolers, as well as offer them snacks and water, and most importantly, an encouraging word. You all may not know, but that means the world to students because they're nervous, they're scared. But to see smiling faces and familiar faces, we want to say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen here in the room, let's give our community heroes a round of applause. And Madam President, if you don't mind, I think it's appropriate, if it's okay with you, if we take a picture. We do have Ms. Rochelle Tyus, again, who is a long-standing community hero of MPS, and the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. If we can take a quick photo with you all, board members, is that fine? We'll have you come down to the front. And any other community heroes that participated on the first day of school. Ladies, if you participated. This is a different. Madam President, it is also my pleasure to stand before you tonight to highlight the incredible contributions our community volunteers played at our Back to School Bash. As we prepared for this fun-filled event, it was heartwarming to witness the enthusiasm and dedication of our volunteers. These efforts were a testament to the strength of our community spirit and the shared commitment to our student success. This event was not just a celebration, but a vibrant showcase of community unity and support. To our volunteers, on behalf of the Montgomery County Board of Education, we thank you for your tireless efforts. The bash was a fantastic success, providing families with a warm and welcoming environment to kick off the school year. And Madam President, I'd like to stop right there in my notes. I think it's important that we also highlight our school principals and our school staffs, also our education specialists. They all came together to put on a wonderful event. And if I may take a point of privilege, again, these ladies here, along with the members of Omega Psi Phi and our school staff, we have Ms. Mitchell and Dr. Palmer and others. I don't want to leave anyone out, but we all came together in the heat. Is that right, ladies? In the heat. Yes. And I think we all did a great thing for students. And again, to have their smiling faces, they did not complain. They jumped in and they rallied around us, had our spirits up high. And we can't say thank you enough. We hope that you all will return. Next year, I will have a different venue. We appreciate the Coliseum, but with some air, But we want to say thank you because without community support, we can't do what we do. And so I think, Madam President and our board members, we all share the sentiment of just saying thank you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to call you back up one by one to present you with a certificate, if that is okay. All righty, Madam President, is that okay with you and Dr. Brown to come down and take a picture with the volunteers?
That's fine.
Thank you. Up first, we have the president of the Montgomery Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, Ms. Tanya Stevens. Is that correct? Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right. Mm-hmm. All righty, thank you. Up next, we have Ms. Vicki Cooper Robinson. Let's give Ms. Robinson a round of applause. Madam President, up next we have Ms. Anya Johnson. Let's give Ms. Johnson a round of applause. All righty, up next we have Ms. Diane Hamilton. I won't say our other volunteer, she helps us so much in other regards, but Ms. Ware, we want to call you up. Thank you so much. Let's give Ms. Ware a round of applause. Madam President, Dr. Brown, we have our very own Dr. Betty Palmer over at Fitzpatrick, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Palmer came ready to work on that Saturday. Alrighty, up next we have the lovely Juanita O's. She wanted to remind me that this was a separate effort, and I thank her for that. Just have a few more. Madam President, Dr. Brown, we have one of the most amazing APs, Ms. Cassandra Mitchell. If she'll come up. Let's give Ms. Mitchell a round of applause. Madam President, we do have a recognition for the Capital City Omegas, but I will hold on to this at this time and make sure that they receive it. A favorite. I'm not sure if he did this to be funny, but I wanted to present this to Dr. Michael Powell for just making sure that we had technology efforts and everything available. And he's a fan favorite of the comms office. Mike. I think it was a test certificate. And Madam President, this is for you and Ms. Brown. This is just a chapter certificate that you all can hold. Just saying thank you all so much for the first day and back to school when you all showed up. So we thank you all so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, again, let's give all of our volunteers a round of applause. Also, our school staff. We do have principals here tonight. We want to recognize them. Ms. Fountain, Dr. Harrison, and Mr. McMillan. We want to thank them, and Jason Nord, over at Brewtech. We want to thank them for joining us. And again, we got a great first day of school, a great start to school. And again, to the community, we thank you so much for your support, and we just ask that you all continue to support us. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to all of our volunteers. At this time, we are ready for our scheduled public comments. The rules and procedures regarding public participation will be as follows. Requests must be made in advance in writing to the superintendent's office by 4:30 p.m. on the Tuesday preceding the meeting date. The request must have specified the nature of the business to be taken up with the board and the name of the person who will address the board to be added to the agenda. Communications must be respectful. Discussing specific student or employee matters will not be allowed. Individuals who have concerns that are inappropriate to be resolved in this venue are welcome to seek a problem-solving meeting with the superintendent. Immediate feedback by the board may not be provided. However, you may be contacted for follow-up by the superintendent or his designee. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes. The board chairman has full authority to terminate the remarks of any individual whose comments contain personal attacks, exceed the time limit, or are otherwise inappropriate. A speaker may be considered disruptive who continues to speak when his or her allotted time has ended, when asked to stop speaking by the board chairman, or is otherwise inappropriate. If a person fails to comply when asked to terminate comments, he or she will be escorted to their seat, out of the auditorium, and or off of MPS's property, depending on the level of disruption. At this time, we welcome Ms. Angela Exford to speak with us on student access for hard copy textbooks at home. Welcome, Ms. Exford.
I want to say thank you for allowing me to speak today. My passion is the children. During these pandemic times, it was very difficult for the children, especially with internet, Chromebooks, and those types of things. I want all of you to really think about having textbooks at home for reinforced learning. It would also help the parents to stay on track with what the children are learning on a day-to-day basis. I enjoy spending time with my grandson, reading his materials, but however, sometimes the internet is not always working. We just had a big outage here a couple of weeks ago that affected the airlines, so I just wanted all of you to consider textbooks at home accessibility for all students for MPS schools. Yes, we have technology. Books are a roadmap and the pathway to technology. Our children really need the tools to enhance learning, and what a better way than to offer them textbooks to take home. I know they have textbooks in school, but that's not enough. Parents are on computers all day. I'm on computers all day. I would love to curl up with a book and read with my grandchild. That means so much. You have bonding time. You have time to talk about what happened at school, and also you can quiz that student because you have the material to quiz them with. We need textbooks at home, and that's all I wanted to say to all of you. Please consider that because it is a valuable tool for our students. I know we have challenges, and Madam President, I want to say this to you. Thank you for the comment on embracing change, because it would be a huge change for Montgomery Public School System to have those books going home, and you will see a tremendous change with the students. Even if you just pilot it for at least a year or 2 years to see how it does and look at the statistics, you will be amazed. Parents' involvement is key to education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Exford. The next item on the agenda, there are no persons signed up for citizens' comments. The next item on the agenda is Teacher Bill of Rights, presented by Ms. Jamie Wilson. Welcome, Ms. Wilson.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Brown, members of the board. This evening, I'm here to present to you for your approval the Teachers' Bill of Rights policy. Senate Bill 157 authorized teachers to exclude students from the classroom in certain circumstances. The local school board of education is required to adopt the Teacher Bill of Rights policy in accordance to the Senate bill. As provided for you, there was a presentation that spelled out exactly what the bill provided as guidelines, or it's a bill for our policy. And so students, I'm going to review some of those areas for you all, but students can be excluded by a teacher from the classroom for disorderly conduct, behaviors that obstruct the teaching or learning process, threatening behaviors, abusive or profane language directed towards an employee, or willfully disobeys an education employee. The purpose of this policy is to outline the standards that are developed and approved that are required for a classroom management plan. There's also 4 areas within this policy. Each teacher is required to have a classroom management plan that aligns with the student code of conduct, any behavior management policies, plans, procedures, PBIS, or otherwise known as positive behavioral intervention support, and other behavioral management systems adopted by the local school board, adopted by each school, and practiced with school-wide. After the plans are approved by the principal, they have to be submitted and approved by the 10th day of school. Once the plans are approved, then we continue on with educating our students. And if a student participates in a behavior that may exclude them from the classroom, the teacher first must follow their classroom management plan, after which the principal will then receive the student and adhere to our student code of conduct for any behavioral management concerns or behavior concerns. There is a principal review and decision process outlined in the policy, as well as an appeal process. There are several steps in the appeal process. One of those is to go straight to the superintendent, from which the principal's review and decision, a teacher can appeal to the superintendent. The superintendent can then render their decision. Of course, within the policy, there are different days and guidelines for us to stay in compliance with the Senate bill, after which the appeal could then move to the board level for review from the board and a decision made from a vote from the board. What we are working with in our buildings, our principals are leading the efforts in making sure that we are establishing our school expectations, reestablishing them, making sure that classroom management plans align with PBIS, which is school expectations, making sure that we continue to support our students at every tier, and making sure that our teachers have the resources they need to provide supports within the classroom. We understand that students are not able to be their best if they're not in class, and so the goal for us is to make sure that we're responsive to behaviors, but also that we're providing those supports for teachers and the student and the families so that they're able to be successful in class. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Yes, there are questions. Ms. Watkins-Smith?
Thank you, Jamie. I did watch your presentation, so it was very informative. It answered a lot of questions I had, but I do have a couple more. I wanted to know if PBIS and MTSS will work in tandem together when you're dealing with the behavior side of it.
Absolutely. So the first tier 1, is considered the classroom management plan. So anything that's written in our teacher's classroom management plan, it actually is going to be aligned to the tier 1 of MTSS for behaviors. If a student is excluded from the classroom, there has to be a response from the principal. It could include a conference with the teacher. It could include a meeting with the parents. And then at that time, you'll decide at tier 2 level what supports would be coming from the level of a tier 2 intervention. So we will not forego any of those steps along the way. If a student is excluded, we are going to continue to work with them and their families as we would prior to this policy.
Okay. And the other question was, I know we're looking at this and it will be voted on. I wanted to know if this draft will go into or be a part of the electronic copy of the student code of conduct.
So actually, this draft is going to go into our policy manual under personnel.
Okay. And then my final question is, with SPED kids, I know we have to follow IDEA and FAPE, but I was wondering also when it comes to students who behavior may not be a manifestation of their disability, if there will be something put in place so that the consequences or infractions are reduced, so that, because they can't have any more than 10 days. Mm-hmm. So will there be something put in place to make sure that doesn't happen, or what's that going to look like?
Yes, within the policy, it states specifically that a student's right cannot be violated based on an IEP, a 504 plan. If a student has exhibited behaviors, we want to make sure first that we're following the IEP, that we're following what's on the 504. But then if there needs to be a meeting to discuss further supports for that student, there will be, just as there would for any student with a 504 IEP if they have behaviors within that IEP.
Ms. Cloud?
Thank you.
Or will you be having checkpoints with BOQs?
What's BOQs?
We'll talk about it later. It's just a part of how you inspect what you expect with the behavior. It's with PBIS.
I'm not sure about that, but we will make sure that we follow up with, if there's a behavior plan, we'll follow up with the FBA. We'll make sure that we continue to provide the correct support.
Are there additional questions of Ms. Wilson? Thank you very much. The next agenda item is from Dr. Kathleen Williamson on the salary schedule for a registered behavior therapist. Welcome, Dr. Williamson.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. Brown. I'm talking to you this evening about the salary schedule for the registered behavior technician. The registered behavior technician is not a new position for our district. However, we have learned over the past year as we have come to this position that our salary schedule has not been as competitive as other entities around us. We use registered behavior technicians to support our students with disabilities, especially those who are in self-contained classrooms that need very specialized programming because of support for social skills, support for their behavior needs. Mr. Watts has worked with the Special Education Services Department to help us develop this salary schedule that is more competitive. I would like to also add that in the past year, we have worked with a partner agency, an outside agency, to contract for these services to bring them into the district. With the salary schedule that Mr. Watts has prepared for us, it will allow us to save more than $40,000 per person to keep those same services available in the district. We currently have these funds allocated from ad valorem.
Thank you. Are there questions of Dr. Williamson? Questions? Thank you, Dr. Williamson.
Thank you.
Now for our June 2024 financial statement. Mr. Arthur Watts. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Brown. You should have before you the financial statement for the month of June 30th of 2024. As we know, June represents three-fourths of our fiscal to our last quarter of fiscal year 2024. As we know, our financial statements run from October 1st through September 30th. So we're in the last quarter of this fiscal year. So we have July, August, and September to report on. Information in this financial statement includes our explanation of financial data. It's a summary that's written by me that basically states the financial position of our district as of June 30th. A snapshot analysis, which is a brief synopsis and comparative information of the district's financial standings as of June 30th. A general fund balance recap, a breakdown of our general fund balances as of June 30th. Monthly budget percentages. Of course, we're in the ninth month of the fiscal year, so that represents 75% of the budget year. A monthly and annual comparative statement of revenues and expenditures are basically comparative data of June 30th revenues and of June 30th expenditures, and it compares that information to a prior year revenues and expenditures as of June 30th, 2024. A statement of cash flow, statement of all cash received and cash paid out as of June 30th, 2024, a pie chart of those cash inflows and outflows, and a combined financial statement, combined balance sheet, which speaks to our financial position also as of June 30th, assets, liabilities, and equity, and our combined statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances based on our income statement as of June 30th. I'm going to I'll start first looking at the snapshot analysis. We see, Madam President, that our total revenues as of June 30th, $230 million, total expenditures, $233 million. So expenditures exceed revenues by over $3 million as of June 30th. That is because we moved $17 million from our general fund, from the ad valorem tax dollars, to our capital debt service fund. Those are the monies that we'll be utilizing to pay long-term debt after we let the bonds, which will be coming up sometime this year. Also, we have basically paid over $26 million towards our capital expenditures on the VOCA Managed program. We'll be getting that $26 million back after we let those bonds also. And lastly, we transferred an additional $9 million from general fund to our reserve accounts that for HVAC needs, for roofing needs, for plumbing needs, and several other needs that we know will be coming up at some point in future years. We currently have over $23 million in that particular reserve account, and we're very, very happy to have that account so when those kind of expenditures come up, we will not have to hit general fund. But again, we see a breakdown of this general fund balance recap, and we notice even our local funds, again, we transferred about $17 million out of general fund for the debt service and capital projects fund. So when we get ready to let the bonds, those monies will be reserved for debt service. And again, over $24 million will be reimbursed to our general fund after we let those bonds, because general fund has been paying those capital expenditures until we let the bonds. We're very, very happy that we're finally starting to see interest rates go down a little bit. And so we kind of been playing the market a little bit. We are hoping that it'll go down a little bit more. So when we do let for those bonds, we're talking about a 27 to 30-year long-term debt bond issue. And so we certainly want to pay as less interest as possible. So as these interest rates go down, we'll take out the loan, or take out let the bonds, and of course we'll be paying a lot less in principal and interest. So that is the key. I have been communicating consistently with our financial advisor, and we are talking about doing a letting of the bonds sometimes before December. So we're getting everything in order for that as we speak. We are also glad or still happy that even with all the money that we transfer to those various fund sources, that we still are at least 3 months beyond our 1 month fund balance, which is required by the state. But as I stated, we still would be receiving that $20-some million after we let those bonds that would go back into our general fund. Lastly, Madam President, I just want to say that we had a meeting with all of the principals and administrators the earlier part of this month. And we explained to all the principals, administrators, and everyone else who would listen that as of September 30th, all of our ESSER funds will be depleted. Of course, there are some things that we've already allocated. Some of the license fees, many of the license fees that you've paid, we would on allocated that or encumbered that for the next 2 or 3 years, so we won't have to worry about that. We did some HVAC projects, some roofing projects, done several things, along with quite a bit of educational products, various custodial products, to ensure that our buildings are clean and safe and secure. So we've done a number of things. As of June 30th, those funds would be gone. So we explained to principals, administrators, and all of our district that we want to make sure that because those funds are gone, that we want to make sure that we are as intentional as possible in every single expenditure. Of course, we have our Title I funds, we have Title II, we have these various fund sources, and we will continue to support all of our schools at every level. But we certainly want principals and everyone to understand that, yes, those ESSER funds was a blessing to us. We kind of hate it came to us the way it had to come to us, but It was a blessing to us that we was able to do a lot of things. But now that they're gone, we want to make sure that everybody understand that let's be intentional about about what we budget. Let's be intentional about our expenditures to ensure that every single dollar is expended for the needs of students in the best possible way. And so that is something that we've consistently stated to principals, to administrators, and we'll continue that message to everyone. Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Are there questions of Mr. Watts regarding our financial statement? Are there questions? Hearing none, again, we thank you. The next agenda item is a middle school sports memorandum of understanding. It will be presented tonight by Ms. Wilson. I very clearly made that statement earlier. Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. The next two items are from Dr. Melvin Brown. The first is a teacher retention and recruitment plan for special education teachers, followed by a revised organizational chart for Montgomery Public Schools.
Thank you, Madam President. As everyone knows, it's been very difficult to attract talent into our teaching ranks, more specifically for special education. As a team, we collaborated to come up with some provisions that would allow us to incentivize both retention and recruitment. The entire cabinet was involved in this. Mr. Watts is also quite prominent in coming up with some numbers in regard to that. So I'll just give some background first. We're looking to do a rate increase for long-term special education substitutes initially. That work during the school day. That would move from $155 per day to $250 per day, which actually puts us in better competition with our neighbors. What we currently pay for that sort of service is through a company called Soliant, with whom we have a contract, and that rate actually is $525 per day. So we would be saving substantially by providing those dollars to our staff as opposed to putting it in the pockets of that company. The company that charges that $525 also pays its employees far less than that. So now we would much rather have substitute teachers making those funds instead of farming them out. All those funds come from our federal special ed funds or from general funds. We also have a recruitment and retention plan we'd like to present to you for approval. I'll start with the retention piece. In terms of keeping our staff in place for numbers of years, we've come up with some provisions that would allow them to get some incentivized pay for numbers of years of service. For example, if you are employed as a current or permanent full-time special education teacher in MPS for 3 to 5 years, you would get an additional $750. For 6 to 10 years, you would get an additional $1,250. And 10 years plus, you would get $1,500. Those funds would expect to be paid no later than September 30 of each school year. Obviously, we'd revisit that down the road about what that looks like in terms of funding for long-term processes. We talked about this potentially being a 3-year arrangement. We have also come up with a recruitment bonus for brand new teachers coming out of the ranks or just coming to us in general. A recruitment bonus for new and permanent full-time special education teachers in the amount of $3,000. That would be paid over the course of 2 years, $1,500 per year, in order to bring about some longevity and having them stay in those roles. There are some provisions in terms of numbers of days that have to be worked to accrue those funds and to actually continue to have those, as we would expect people who receive that incentivized pay to stay with us. That proposal is with you today. It'll be considered later on for approval. We think this will help us tremendously in terms of how we go about recruiting and retaining our staff, particularly in the area of special education, which is an area of need for us. I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Thank you. Are there questions? Ms. Watkins-Smith?
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I will say, when looking at this, I was like, let me dust off my special education certification.
Come on back.
Come back. But I can't. Wish I could. But I did have a question. You said that this is expected to be paid out no later than September the 30th, 2024. I was just wondering, with the job fair that we just had, do you all think that would, or do you think that it would have been better to have it in place by then, so that when we were recruiting, it
It
could
would
have
have
been
been,
incentive?
yes, it would have been, no question about it. But as we were putting together some ideas about what this could look like, the hindsight is always 20/20. We wanted to do whatever we could now and into the future in terms of recruiting and retaining.
I just say that because that would have been the optimum
Sure.
opportunity to catch them. The other thing, my other question was about current staff, and it says that in here, but does that also include staff who are still on a teacher salary but may not be actually in the classroom? Are they?
As long as they're a special education teacher contract, yes.
Okay. And I wanted to know, as you all know, I was in the SPED department, so I'm gonna have quite a few questions. But as far as in conjunction with the teacher and retention agreement, I was wondering what types of incentives maybe that our special ed director could have offered, if there's any that would really tap into how to get those employees here to make her a part of the plan. Is there anything that you all can share that maybe she could have brought to the table? Because I know we still have vacancies.
Yes. There's nothing in the works as of yet, but that doesn't mean we can't continue to have those conversations and come up with new provisions. We're completely open to that.
And I would say, I think she would be probably one of your better assets, because she's, in the role of trying to, also working with you all and trying to get those teachers here. And like I said, there are some vacancies, so I'm hoping that we'll hear something back that will optimize that too. I had one more question, so bear with me as I try to figure out where I wrote it. Oh, and that was it. I wanted to know, and this can be given to me later, how many special ed vacancies we have currently, starting off the year.
We can certainly get those numbers for you.
Yes.
Wait a
Ms.
minute,
Cloud?
one
Hold on,
last
more.
one.
Okay, I thought you
And
were
I
through.
had
I'm
to
sorry.
find it.
I thought you were through.
One more. And I wanted to, and you all probably would do this when you get with the SPED director, but I was wondering if she doesn't have a copy of this, if she could be provided a copy of the plan just for overview, just to add that extra input.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it.
Ms. Cloud? Have another recruitment, just for special ed, or go to these colleges and just for special ed. I mean, I want to steal these people from other.
I was about to say the same thing.
Let's steal them.
Dr. King.
I just wanted to, kind of put this in, it may be really far-fetched, but we do pay for dual enrollment. And I wonder if sometime in the future we could consider paying for just a little bit of the education for special ed, for recruitment. Because if we have as many emergency certificate teachers as we have, and we're trying to retain more and move more, maybe if we put it out there that we are also, helping somehow, and have them sign off that they would have to stay with us for amount of years or something like that. I just wanted it to kind of be a thought for the future.
I think it's a great idea. That's part of what we're looking at with a partnership with Reach University for our classified employees to potentially become teachers. But that's also something we consider as well.
Thank you. I think I appreciate what y'all are doing on that. I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Brown?
Moving on. All right. Moving on to our organizational chart. We've laid out the provisions of our organizational chart for the district in terms of who's over what. You'll see an expanded use of the chief of staff position a little bit differently. As you know, over the past year or so, our chief of staff has also served in some ways as our chief academic officer. And that Dr. King is on board, who has already hit the ground running and done a fantastic job with what he's trying to do to shift what happens in our Department of Academics and Accountability. We can utilize our chief of staff in a way it's actually meant to kind of oversee and assist in all areas in shifting the universal model of what that's supposed to look like with all areas except finance. We're also looking at the potential of doing some things under communications with parent engagement, looking slightly different. That's an area that we know we need to beef up and do a little bit differently going forward. I would also add, in terms of the chief of staff, she would still lead the Department of School Leadership. Other than that, there aren't too many changes to our org chart, except, of course, the addition of our general counsel, who I'm excited to have on board.
Thank you. Are there questions? Yes, Ms. Cloud.
With the general counsel, the board attorney, is she going to have a paralegal/secretary?
Yes, we're working on that now.
Okay, so there's going to be a box under
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
Are there additional questions?
I have one.
Ms. Watkins?
Because we are coming out of the spirit of special education, I did want to ask seriously about, and you can, and you don't have to answer this, it's just for consideration. Because I know that that's such a delicate area, so if there possibly could be either a shift up into the executive position, or, well, because there's a lot to that, and not minimizing any other department, but I do know that there's a lot of financial pieces that go into that. And then the other thing was about the family and community engagement. I was trying to understand when I read it, is it under communication or will it be under Title I?
Well, currently, we have a role that's called a parenting specialist that's under student services.
Okay.
We'd like to be able to add something potentially down the road under communications, because that's going to be the conduit whereby we can actually reach parents where they are and provide resources or contact or what have you, and just changing what that interaction looks like. Now, there may be some Title I situations that can support that, but in terms of the area of supervision and coordination, we want to put that under communications.
Okay, and so they pretty much, although the title sounds similar, but the job responsibilities and duties.
Yes,
are
yes,
different. That's what I
yes.
was
That's
trying to
usually,
understand.
yes. It would look a little different than what they do with the Title I parent engagement piece.
And that department is the family engagement, well, whatever you called it, not the one that's under the communications, but the other one. Is that with Title I, or is that where it's under the academic side?
It's done somewhat with Title I, but it's technically under student services right now.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Cloud.
You know as well as I do that the EGAP has a place that you pull parent involvement funds. You do it on the set-aside page, so there's some actual funding there.
Sure.
That is required. So, you know, that's a good start.
Absolutely. We're looking at ways we can engage parents, not necessarily in what happens with the academic program, but also socially, how they can be connected to school and have a better role in how all those things look from a culture and climate standpoint as well.
Maybe have a partnership with the PTSA or
Absolutely.
PTA.
Absolutely. I would add one last piece. When we add the paralegal or the assistant under the general counsel, this would actually come back again for an additional approval down the road.
Thank you. And for your notes, ladies, item 9 on our agenda, we need to change that word therapist. It's a registered behavior technician salary schedule that we're looking at. Therapist should change to technician.
If I could add, Dr. Coleman, I've changed that on the live agenda. So if you refresh it, if you're on your device, you'll see that's changed already.
It's in there.
Yes.
Okay, again, thank you, Dr. Brown. The next item on the agenda is an Alabama Association of School Boards nomination for the A-Team Award. The A-Team is our advocacy award. We will nominate an individual for the Advocacy Team Award. The Advocacy Award recognizes local school board members who successfully engage in legislative and policy advocacy during school board service. The service includes, but is not limited to, participation in the AASB advocacy events at the state and/or federal level over the past year, engagement with policymakers, and handling of issues of importance to the district and the state. Are there questions as to what that award is or does?
No.
Hearing no questions, do we have any nominations? Yes.
I nominate Mrs. Erica Watkins Smith for the AASB A-Team position or award.
Ms. Erica Watkins Smith has been nominated. Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Hearing no additional nominations, Erica Watkins Smith will be our nominee for the Advocacy Award. Congratulations. We have reached our consent agenda. I'm looking. There are items lettered A through I. Dr. Brown, the consent agenda.
Madam President, I recommend for approval the consent agenda as listed.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent.
And I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. It is unanimous. At this time, we are ready to consider for approval. Personnel report, certified personnel.
Madam President, I recommend for approval the personnel report, certified personnel.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent.
Is there a second?
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there discussion? Yes.
Yes. On number 2, Dr. Brown, what is the extent of that contract? What is the contract length?
Are you on the personnel report or the addendum?
I'm on the personnel.
On A or B?
I am on, not on the addendum. Hang on a minute. Hang on, let me flip over. Yes, it's number 2. Number 2.
Number 2 on the certified report is a retirement.
No, certified, number 2.
Yeah, it's a retirement.
I think you might be on the addendum.
Yes, the addendum, I'm sorry.
That'll be the next item.
Okay. Is there more discussion?
What's the length of the contract?
It's on the
It's
next
on the
item.
next, it's on the next item. It's not
Got
this
you.
item.
And then I have one more, please.
Okay.
I'm trying to go.
She's on the wrong item.
Okay. Well, I was, but I'm looking at number 2. But that's okay. Number 50.
Okay.
On the,
On the one we're on?
Let's make sure we're on the right item.
I'm looking at the item. I've got them pressed down. Hang on, I'm flipping through. The last one, number 50. Hang on. Number 50 on the addendum. Is
We're
now-
not on
Ms.
the
Clark, we're not on the
addendum
addendum
yet.
yet.
Okay, then go back to the certified, back to not the addendum, but the original one. Last item, 50.
The last item on the original one, on the certified personnel report is actually number 67.
Okay, let me just put it like this. Is that a special education facilitator or a zone coordinator? What's the difference in a zone coordinator and a special education facilitator?
I'm afraid I don't know what item you're on.
Okay.
You can look on.
I threw the other one away. I thought.
Yes,
I thought
that's
that
on the
replaced it.
addendum. That's on the addendum.
I thought that replaced it.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right. We are currently personnel report, certified personnel. Are there other questions? Hearing no questions, we'll take the vote. All those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation? Raise your hands. It passes. Personnel report, certified personnel.
Madam President, I recommend for approval the personnel report certified personnel addendum.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the addendum to the personnel report certified personnel.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation regarding item B, personnel report certified personnel, the addendum. Is there discussion?
There was a question, I'll go ahead and respond to that. Number two, that is a 2-year contract. And Dr. Williamson, could you assist me with the difference between a zone coordinator and a special education facilitator?
The special education facilitators are school-based staff that take the lead for special education services within the building. The zone coordinator is a central office staff that works with several schools within the feeder.
Thank you.
Okay, the one I'm talking about.
Number 50?
Number 50
Yes.
has been known as a zone coordinator. So we're changing that from a zone coordinator to a facilitator?
Those are just the supplements, Dr. Brown.
Right.
For the
Okay.
special
Right.
education facilitators.
Okay. It's right here. I know, but, okay. I see that. Thank you.
Okay, are we good? Do we have additional questions? Ms.
I
Watkins
have.
Smith.
Just for, and I don't know the number off the top of my head now, but, oh, yes, I do, number 8 and number 9. Is there a reason why those are half? I know that they're in one building, and this is for the supplement. I was a special education facilitator, so I know the work. I was just wondering, is there a reason theirs can't be full? I mean, because you're still having to do the same work.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's based on numbers of students, though.
Oh,
So
it's
there are
gonna be
fewer
that.
students.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, personnel report certified personnel addendum as recommended by the superintendent, raise your hands. 3 to 2, it passes. Wait a minute, nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like it's 3-3. It fails. Are you asking us to hold up? Okay, I'm trying to get clarity here. She asked us to hold up for a moment. Are we? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I called it as a. Would you like to take the vote over? Madam Secretary needs us to take the vote over. Okay. Personnel report, certified personnel, the addendum. The superintendent has recommended it. It has been moved and seconded. We had a discussion. We will take the vote. All those in favor of the addendum, raise your hands. Okay. It passes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading something.
It is unanimous. Okay, thank you, ladies. Personnel report, classified personnel, Dr. Brown.
Madam President, I recommend for approval the personnel report certified personnel. Classified personnel, excuse me.
The personnel report, classified personnel, you've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent for personnel report, classified personnel.
And I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. It is unanimous. Dr. Brown.
Madam President, I recommend for approval the personnel report teams.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the personnel report teams.
I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for our personnel report teams. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. It is unanimous. Thank you. At this time, we're looking at the board chart. We're looking at the MPS organizational chart. Dr. Brown.
Madam President, I recommend for approval the MPS organizational chart.
You have heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the MPS organization chart by the superintendent.
I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we do accept the superintendent's recommendation. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. It is unanimous. Okay, there being no further business on this agenda, the regular board meeting is adjourned to be followed promptly by our work session. The meeting is adjourned. What time was that? That was 6:08?
Wait, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I see. You have it. I'm just passing out copies of it.
Okay. The August 13 work session of the Montgomery County Board of Education will come to order. It is 6:08. And again, thank you for those who are joining us. Remember to maintain electronic device silence. We still have 6 members present. We have a quorum present. This agenda has also been posted with one additional change, and that is to add the middle school memorandum of understanding to the work session agenda. At this time, with that change, can we get an adoption of this agenda by unanimous consent? The question before you is there objection to adopting the amended agenda? Is there objection? Hearing no objection, the amended agenda has been adopted. We have several items that we'll receive as information, and we'll begin with our regular Volkert update. Mr. Glenn Slater. Welcome, Mr. Slater.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Brown. This is our monthly update for the capital improvement program. We've currently have under construction is Carver High School, South Lawn Middle School, and the Park Crossing Field House. We have a project that is currently being advertised to bid, which is the Todd Road relocation at Percy Julian. We intend to bid it before the end of the month, and if the bids come in favorable, we'll ask for board approval at that time. We're asked that Dr. Brown make the recommendation for board approval. The Carver High School 9th grade academy. Here's the photo from standing at Fairview here. The project overall is about 90% complete. We had hit some major milestones this past month on the project that, if you remember me talking earlier, the project was scheduled to be complete by the end of September, and we managed to get occupancy on the 2nd of August, which is almost 2 months early and unheard of. Pate, our project manager for the project, has been camping out there on a regular basis trying to help the entire team get it moving. The contractor, the principal, and assistant principal, and everybody on the team has been working really hard together, and we're really proud to have brought it in to where the kids can go to school there. It's got some loose ends to wrap up, of course, but it was good enough to bring the kids in and safe and clean. And we still got furniture dwindling in and some other items that are still being worked on. Again, on the substantial completion, we're going to do it at the field house when it's complete. And that way there'll be one warranty period for the entire school or the entire addition there. Got owner training has been completed at the academy building. The general contractor's working on punch list items, got most of everything on the inside taken care of. Going to start working the exterior this week. Also, one of the big things is sewer. You know, we were fortunate enough that right next to the auditorium and where the classrooms are, the restrooms all were that close. You know, close enough to the proximity of the new classroom additions. We were able to use that. The bathrooms right there at the auditorium, but we'll hopefully have the new bathrooms opened up at the end of this week or early next week. Here's some photos of the building itself. You can tell how well it matches with the existing building. It just blends right in. This is the back side of it here where mechanical units are sitting behind those fences there. This is the little courtyard area that's in between the first wing of the addition and the existing auditorium. And we called for having grass there, but after you've got the building going on, it's got that much sun on it right there for about 30 minutes a day, and the rest of the time it's shaded in there, and it wouldn't be able to grow grass there. Here's our the admin suite of the addition here. You know, the computers and all are still coming in. Office furniture, an electrical room there to the far right. Here's a photo of one of the classrooms that student desks are in. Another from a different angle of the same classroom. The technology folks did a great job getting everything set up. Again, you know, I'm real proud to say that the school opened up early and we didn't have to go to Plan B.
Thank you, Mr.
Madam President, would it be okay if I said something really quick?
Absolutely.
I wanted to thank Volker and our contractors for making that happen. They finished almost a month ahead of time, and that is unheard of. They heard our plea, they heard our urgency in getting this done, and I wanted to thank you myself, but I'm thinking on behalf of the board and community as well in terms of getting that done so our kids can get in that building. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's definitely a team effort. Everybody that had work in there was very cooperative.
And I'd like to say something, Madam President.
Absolutely.
I
Dr.
do.
Hicks?
I'm just reiterating, we are so proud. You can look at your design, you can look at your attention to detail. I think as a board, we could look at this and see how hard and your efforts just to, just to make somebody out there to make sure that it happens and still here making sure that the bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it's pleasing to know that we're in good hands. We've been in good hands. It's also kind of a little star up there that says we made the right decision a long time ago. So I appreciate the hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're proud to be here. Back on the field house is it's about 95%, 90 to 95% done on it. We've had above ceiling inspection at the same time we were doing the final inspection on the other building. And the hard ceilings and such are starting to go in at this time. Here's the entry coming into the building here. That'll be a glass storefront coming in right there. The one on the right here is the players' study area where they'll be able to look out across the field from inside the building here. The one on the right is the weight room. The lockers have shown up. They'll start installing them after the building starts getting cleaned up. The next project we've got is South Lawn Middle School. It's roughly about 40% done. The hollow-core floor is down. The structural steel roof is going well, and the lower perimeter of the CMU block is starting to be set up. Here's some photos of it. And Park Crossing is running almost 70% done. The walls have been topped out on it, and the bar joists have been installed. The roof deck is down on most of it. They've got some areas of pitched roof that they've still got to be worked on. Got a pre-roofing conference scheduled for there next week. This photo is about 2 weeks old. They've started the pitched roof that will mimic the wing that's adjacent to it right there on the end of this building here. Hopefully we can get it dried in before it really starts raining. This is the some of the renderings, and we'll bring several more next month for the new Percy Julian High School. It would be the gymnasium, or not the gymnasium, that's actually the auditorium to the far right there, where you got the fly loft that's popped up on it. The main entry to the school is right where the center cupola is. This is the entry from the to the gymnasium. Gymnasium, there's be a main corridor running through the middle of the school. The auditorium will be on the left here, and the gymnasium on the right. Again, I wanted to mention the Todd Road bid that's coming up, and we don't have any dollars for it yet, but we'll hopefully have a favorable bid to be where we can send it to Dr. Brown for that time. Any
Thank you. Are there questions of Mr. Slater?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Smith?
More like a comment, actually. When riding the Northern Boulevard, I saw the sign, home of the new Percy Julian.
Yes, ma'am.
So I can say that was exciting. And I love all the fast food restaurants nearby. That was so cute.
Any questions of Mr. Slater? Thank you again, Mr. Slater.
Thank you.
Next, we welcome Mrs. Avian Ruffin, Program Director for ASU Preventing School Violence Grant. Welcome, Ms. Ruffin.
Board, Madam President, Dr. Brown, thank you for having ASU here tonight. My name is Avianne Ruffin. I'm here on behalf of Alabama State University, Preventing School Violence Program. I'm here to let the board know the beautiful things that Alabama State and MPS have going on in conjunction. Our relationship, our working relationship has expanded. And I just wanted to take 5 minutes of your time to explain what's going on. The Preventing School Violence Grant is a BJA STOP grant. The Bureau of Justice Assistant awarded us a 3-year, $2 million grant to help train security personnel, educate students, aid in the specialized treatment of the school resource officers, and assist in support of assemblies and training for in-school staff and parents and teachers. I don't want the word violence to choke hold, right? Because we want to clutch our pearls when we hear violence. ASU wants to assist MPS with already what they have in place. They have wonderful things in place, but teachers and principals have a lot on their plates right now, right? So we want to help them. We want to take some of the burden off of the principals, off of the school system, and help alleviate some of the things that we see going on in our school, in the news, on Facebook. We turn on the news nowadays and we see these things that's going on in our community. ASU want to help MPS be proactive instead of reactive. So we want to help educate our parents. We want to help our students. We want to help the community partners that ASU and MPS already fosters. The grant itself, we're at 5 schools, which is Danley Elementary, Doja, Chisholm, Brubaker, and Highland Gardens. District-wide, we're here for the SROs and for the security personnel. So we're going to train the entire security personnel, and we're going to only give online courses and training and workshops to those 5 schools, because right now that's what the grant offers. Hopefully, at the end of the grant, we could renew and then we can expand. That's why I'm here. To name a few of our community partners and the trainings that we have going on, we partner with Central Alabama Crime Stoppers. We have different trainings. Universal trainings is for the principals. We want to train the whole school staff, right? Because what's the point of just a security guard and the principal knows what to do if something happens? The cafeteria lady needs to know, the nurse needs to know, the janitor needs to know. The entire school community needs to know if something happens. Also, our parents. We all know if something happens at the school, what is the parents going to do? They're going to try to come up there and get little Tay-Tay out of school. They can't, right? So we need to help the parents know exactly what Dr. Cutts and Chief Forte have in place, have already established, but we need to connect that information to the parents. ASU is here to alleviate some of the burden that MPS have with getting parental involvement, with coming to these programs. So we need to let them know that, okay, if this happens, this is what's going to happen. You have to report to this location. You have to wait until this happens. You have to follow protocol. We're going to get numbers. This is what the school system had in place. Because right now, I've talked to a lot of parents, and they really think they can just call the school, come and get the child, but that's not what's really going to happen. So ASU wants to help MPS reach out to the parents to tell them what happens in these trainings. The advanced training, I'm not going to list all of them. Some of them that we have tried so far with the parents is building partnership, motivation, restorative practice, trauma-informed. I think a lot of the times now we hear that the pandemic exposed a lot, right? It uncovers some of the trauma. Our babies went through a traumatic time doing the pandemic. We did too. So what can we do to help them? ASU Department of Social Work, ASU Department of Continuing Education, ASU Department of Counseling, ASU Department of the Public Safety, which is the police department on campus. We're trying to use the resources that Alabama State have in place for crisis management or emergency response to offer those same services to MPS to help alleviate the pressure with a lot of the things if something happens. And it's just not violence. I want to drill that home. It's just not violence. It's crisis management. It's in case stuff happens where we're dealing with trauma, we're dealing with mental health, we're dealing with bullying, we're dealing with suicide prevention. We have all of these courses, online training for teachers and parents to help the understanding. Because a lot of the times, a lot of parents don't know what to do and they may not know how to ask. So we're offering these to the parents at the schools. This is our parent and caregiver training that we have that we're trying really hard. We have online instructions, we have after-school activities, we have assemblies, we have workshops that we're trying to offer our parents. These are departments that I listed earlier that ASU currently have to help our students and our Social Security Guard. Last week, we offered a restorative practice training to our security personnel for 2 days. That was their back-to-school professional development. So we were able to help with de-escalation technique and crisis management to our security personnel. And they had a 2-day, 14-hour course that they received CEUs from. So ASU right now, all we're doing is connecting the resources that we have in place to MPS to help them, to assist. We also had, a couple weeks ago, a NASRO training for our security personnel to get them trained and certified. And we also had a critical incident response training, which is an active shooter incident, where we had a little mock-up sample of if something happens, what ASU uses, which is MPD, the SWAT team, the helicopter, all of those resources, the medic, the fire department, all of those resources that ASU would rely on if something would happen on campus is what we offered MPS and showed. That's not my ministry, so we're just connecting the resources to the parties. What we're here to do tonight is to create a culture of respect and tolerance, right? We want our kids to also be exposed to police officers that look like us, that they see in a positive light, because our students right now have this atmosphere of authority, right? So although the Preventing Violence Grant offers training, we're also trying to change the climate and the outlook of certain things that's going on in our school system, in the media. We're helping with assemblies. We just confirmed assemblies at Chisholm. They wanted to have a program with walking home, safety, cyber, do not drop your location. The students, and these are elementary kids, and you would think, oh, they may not know. They know. So we have to be aware, the students know, we need to educate the parents, educate the school system of what to look out for. So we're just connecting the resources. And then lastly, I wanted to extend my thanks to MPS for partnering with us with this grant. And I'm hoping that it's going to be longevity. We're having fun. Our principals have bought in, and we're excited to continue this relationship. We had 100 security personnel on campus. That's with the school resource officers, MPD, the Sheriff's Department, and MPS security personnel. and we want to continue this working relationship. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are there questions of Ms. Yes?
Yeah, Madam President. Ms. Ruffin, I hope you don't take this wrong. I think what you're doing is fabulous, especially since you're going to be doing security across the board. But I have one question and then a comment. The question is, what was the criteria to have 5 elementary? Where did y'all pick those 5?
The 5 elementary schools was trying to curtail the behavior at the middle schools because MPS, I think, had some form of the grant before. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the feeder schools to a certain school, they were trying to reduce the incident report at that middle school.
Because my thoughts, Ms. Ruffin, were it would have been, please, this is not a negative comment. Maybe we can do some other grant or some other partnership. Somebody could at least think about this because, we have so many 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds solving their problems with guns, knives. I know today on the way here, my husband told me that we had 2 Montgomery students that killed an athlete in Lochapoka just today, if you read that. And I just think somewhere along the line, if we could partner up and hit some of these students in our high schools, if we could do a pilot study with the middle school, a pilot study with a high school, because something has to tell these kids, because they're still bullying. I'm still teaching today. We're in our 4th day. And they just solve problems differently. And I think y'all would be phenomenal in that area. So I like what you're doing. I just would like to expand on this.
Yes, ma'am.
If we could consider it. I hope somebody look into it.
Okay, Ms. Cloud.
You're in elementary schools. Do you go with the upper elementary grades, or is it across the board, the K1, 2, 3, or do you do 4, 5, 3?
We're working with the principal, so we try to be age appropriate. So it depends on the theme and the subject matter. If it's drugs, we had COSA come in, so it was just the 5th graders. So if it's mental health, we could age appropriate things for the kindergartners and 1st grade. And we had a drawing contest that was a success. And we have different things. So it all depends on the subject matter.
Thank you again. Thank you so very much for being here. The next item on the agenda will be the 5,000 Role Models Mentorship presentation. At this time, we'd like to welcome Mr. Andrew Harris, Mr. Rico Cox.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam President, board members, Dr. Brown.
Good evening, everyone, board members, Madam President, Superintendent Brown. It is our honor to stand before you today to introduce a program that has a profound impact on my life and countless lives in our community, the 5,000 Role Model Excellence Program.
Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today is the day I hope you will donate to.
I talk about MLK Day without talking about the 5,000 role models. It is an excellent breakfast that happens at the Miami Beach Convention Center.
That's right. And our local 10, Joseph Ojo, he was there and he filed this report for us.
And this truly was a life-changing event for these 50 young men. Receiving these scholarships will be a game changer in their future, and they couldn't be more proud of this honor. Dressed for success in their black suits and red ties, this group of 50 young men honored for their hard work and dedication.
5,000 Role Models is basically about brotherhood. It's helped me get through challenges.
In front of a crowd of more than 3,000 Monday at the 31st annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Breakfast, these future leaders of tomorrow awarded scholarships that will be making a huge difference in their future.
In college, I become to study education.
Many of these young men grateful for the opportunity to go to college, while others taking the life lessons learned to fight for our country.
I'm actually going to the Marines, so as far as using it now, I'm probably using it in the future.
We lift them up, we love them, we hug them, and then we send them to college.
The 5,000 Role Models of Excellence program was started by none other than Congresswoman Frederica Wilson.
Growing up without a father, it was a big help in my life, especially helping my mom and everything like that.
Her goal, to provide mentorship to kids in underserved communities, allowing a path to manhood and keeping these bright minds out of the prison system.
I have a dream that if every boy in this nation were a part of the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence project, oh, what a difference it would make in the lives of our children and in our community. We wouldn't have lust for drugs. We wouldn't have lust for guns. There would be no school shootings.
A product of this wonderful role model program is Judge Darrell Trawick.
I have grown myself as a part of this program.
He says he wants to see this class of 2024 role models do great things and inspire the next generation of leaders.
It's always inspiring seeing these young men and all they accomplish while they're in the program with our mentorship.
And this program is certainly growing, expanding through the state and even currently growing throughout the country, even internationally in the Bahamas. The hope is to fix young children before having to fix broken men. We're here on Miami Beach. I'm Joseph Ojo, Local 10 News.
Since The Daily Show finally hired a black host, we can properly celebrate Martin Luther King Day by asking New Yorkers how they celebrate his life. Eddie Murphy. That's only black.
There you go.
That was not part of their presentation.
No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. I thought it was just going to go back to it. How are you guys doing this evening? My name is Andrew Harris III. This is my second year in Montgomery County Public Schools as a math teacher at JAG High School. I taught in Miami-Dade Public Schools for 28 years as a full-time teacher, 3 years as a substitute. So I've been working with kids over 30 years. My first year as a teacher in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, I was hired by Jam Man Opportunity School, which is the school where they kick out all the middle school kids. Expelled, whatever they did, they came to us. I was approached by a man there named Alonzo Boykin, where he introduced me to the 5,000 Role Models as a first-year teacher. So that changed my life, all right? Because being a part of this program made me realize what our young men were going through and how we look at them, how we treat them, how we try to help them to get through the things that they go through every day. At this school, we had a lot of kids that were very, very, very distraught. And watching Mr. Boykin work with these kids, he taught me a lot. And it gave me that positive mindset that I needed to be successful as an educator in Miami-Dade County. I started off as a math teacher. I moved on to be a math coach. From there, I moved on to be a curriculum support specialist for the district. And now I'm in Montgomery County. And I'm bringing forth to you the 5,000 Role Model program to help our young men in this community of Montgomery County. As a basketball coach, my players were members of this organization. It helped me as a basketball coach because it gave them the mindset to be leaders in the school, to be role models, and it helped on the basketball court as far as their demeanor, the respect for the referees, the respect for the game. As a father of young girls, my children going to Miami-Dade Public Schools, they've seen this organization. They've seen their father work with this organization. And it molded them to know how young men should treat them and how they should treat young men. And proud father. Both of my kids now are in Tallahassee at Florida A&M, and they're doing fine. Now a little bit about Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. She is a Miami native, where she graduated from Miami Northwestern Senior High School. She then attended Florida A&M, graduated from Fisk University with a bachelor's degree and her master's degree from the University of Miami. Congressman Wilson proudly is presently the Florida's 24th congressional district since 2010. This region is one of the most ethically and culturally diverse districts in the nation and includes parts of Northwest Miami-Dade and Southern Broward counties. She started off in District 17 in 2010, where she succeeded Kendrick Meeks, who I went to high school with. And and from that point, she went to District 24, where she currently is still the Congresswoman. These are some of the committees that she has worked with throughout her career as a Congresswoman. And founded in Miami-Dade in 1993, this initiative has grown into a beacon of hope and opportunity for young men of color, guiding them towards a brighter future. The 500 Role Models of Excellence Project was established with a clear and powerful mission to intervene in the lives of at-risk youth and providing them with the guidance, support, and mentorship necessary to overcome the challenges they face. In a world where these young men often encounter obstacles, setbacks, the program steps in to offer a lifeline, a community of mentors who not only share their wisdom, but also their time, experience, and care.
My name is Rico Cox. I've been teaching school. This is year 21, year 11 at JAG High School, used to be Jefferson Davis High School. Some of the things I'm going to talk about as far as the program is some of the things that we offer to our young scholars: empowerment, education, character development, community engagement, and preventing dropout rate and reducing crime. Empowerment. At its core, the 5,000 Role Models Project seeks to empower young men by helping them recognize their own potential. We aim to instill confidence, resilience, and a sense of purpose, enabling them to pursue their dreams with determination. Education. We believe that education is the key to breaking the cycle of poverty and disadvantage, and through scholarships, academic support, and exposure to career opportunities, we strive to ensure that each mentee is equipped with the tools they need to succeed academically and professionally. And some of the things that we're going to bring to the table at JAG High School is mentoring program. We're going to teach the young kids life skills. Education summit. We're going to host the education summit with the local officials at the city level, county level, and community level, as well as some of the people within the school. Also, community service. I believe in being a servant leader. You have some power-driven leaders, but I believe in being a servant leader. When you're a servant leader, you're out there on the front line, you're in the trenches, and you do what's asking you, or you do what's needed at that particular time. Provide a safe place, have peer meetings, teach literacy skills. Financial literacy, leadership skills, scholarships. Through my youth and government organization, over the last 6-7 years, we gave away over $10,000 in scholarships to our seniors who was a part of our youth and government. Internships, page programs with the state legislator. The last 8-9 years, we had kids participate in the page program. It's a great opportunity. Summer programs also with the city and the county. They'll get a chance to work at the city office. They'll get a chance to work at the probate office and do things like that and get opportunities that they probably wouldn't have a chance to get. Media training, field trips, public speaking. We also will train them how to interview for jobs and, list simple things like tying a tie, de-escalation techniques and strategies. Character development, the program emphasizes the importance of integrity, responsibility, and respect. Our mentors serve as role models in every sense of the word, discriminating what it's meant to lead a life of character and making positive contributions to society. When you change attitude, you change behavior. When you change behavior, you change culture. I'm going to say that again. When you change attitude, you change behavior. When you change behavior, you change culture.
Yeah.
All right, community engagement. We're building a community of excellence, one that extends beyond the walls of our school. The school is just a building. I mean, the building is not necessarily a school. The teachers, the students, the administrators, the custodial workers, the cafeteria workers, all of those make up the school. So the building is not necessarily a school. It's the people that make up the school. All right, by fostering a sense of belonging and mutual support, we are creating a network of individuals committed to uplifting one another in our community.
All right, we also have preventing dropout and reducing crime. One of the key goals of the program is to keep our young men in school and out of the criminal justice system. By providing guidance and support, we aim to reduce dropout rates and steer our mentees away from the negative influences that derail their futures. In essence, the 5,000 Role Models Excellence Project is about more than just mentorship. It is about changing lives. It is about opening doors, creating opportunities, and ensuring that every young man who participates in the program knows that he is valued, supported, and capable of achieving greatness. At JAG High School, our goal is to expand and evolve to a positively impact the lives of many young men as possible, to set them on a path towards success, to create a legacy of excellence that will inspire future generations. We ask and thank you for your support and commitment to this vital mission. Together, we are not just shaping individuals, we are shaping the community of our children.
If you want to go to the website, you can go to the website, 5,000 Role Models of Excellence. They have supporters, they have, testimony, they have a lot of things that you can look up and actually see. It's 5,000 Role Models of Excellence. You can Google it. It'll pop right up.
And I can attest that being around this program the last 30 years, Congressman Wilson is very involved. She's visible. She makes sure that her presence is known because this is her baby. And she loves this baby. So, I am very proud. I really enjoy talking to her. She's a very, very nice lady. And she's very genuine. So, Ms. Mitchell, I'd like to publicly thank you for making this happen for us to come before the board. And I can't wait to work with you guys in trying to train some of the people in this community so that we can get our young men where they need to be. And coming from Miami, Florida, I know what it is that these young men are going through. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Madam President?
Absolutely.
I wanted to, first of all, make a correction. This has nothing to do with y'all, and then I have a couple of questions. I earlier said Montgomery students, and it was Macon County students, not ours. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to make that known to the public when I'm wrong. I normally try to say I'm wrong, and I was very wrong on that. But I have a couple of questions. Have we started this? Has this started over at JAG yet? So this is going to be
Not
new?
yet. This is new.
Okay, good.
We have to bring it to the board first. I've been in communication with Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. She's really excited to add us to the program. From the video, you saw that they're adding people worldwide and nationwide, and she's very interested in Montgomery. She had been looking at our numbers already and wanted to come. And when she heard from one of her former students, it was just excited. We were excited and got the ball rolling. You can see he's all in uniform today.
And I saw the red.
And I wore my red.
Yeah, I saw the red tie, and I saw the agenda, and I love the fact that y'all put a video with this because you get to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
I felt like I've met Congressman Wilson already, and she was so passionate in her thing. So I'm looking forward to this. Really
very
am.
excited to come and meet you guys.
And thank you both for coming. And I'm just glad you're both educators and boots on the ground. So thank you.
And not only are we asking for the support of the board, We're asking for the support of Montgomery. We need mentors. We need parents involved. We need teachers. We need everybody. So we're looking for those men who want to be mentors, to make a difference in the lives of these young men so that they can be the persons that they're purposed to be.
And that's a part of my job, Mr. Cox's job, to go to the community, recruit these men that we know can come in and help some of these young men. And like I said, being around this program the last 30 years in Miami, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what work it takes. And I know that you have to put that time in with these young men. You have to.
Thank you. Thank you again, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The next item on our agenda is an overview of our dual enrollment program. At this time, we welcome Mr. Forrest Hillary and Ms. Kimberly Foster to the mic. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Brown, and the Montgomery Public Schools Board of Education. My name is Forrest Hillary. I serve as the district's college and career readiness specialist, and I have joining with me today my co-partner, Ms. Kimberly Glenn Foster, who is the guidance specialist. So on this evening, we will be going through just an overview of the Montgomery Public Schools dual enrollment for dual credit program.
Thank you for allowing us to give an overview today. We greatly appreciate it. I will start off with basic foundation. This is information that's shared with students, parents, that's in the guide, wanting to make sure we're all hearing the same information. So we have students at MPS that participate in both dual enrollment and dual enrollment for dual credit, more so in the dual enrollment for dual credit. Students who are taking college courses, who are substituting those courses for coursework, we call that dual credit. So a student may be taking English Comp 101 at a university, and with successful completion, they get that college credit, and they may get that 11th or 12th grade English credit as well. We also have students, not many, but we still have a few students who take dual enrollment, where they are enrolled in a course at the university and really don't let MPS know, or is separate from the school. We do have close enough relationships with the university that they still let us know about those dual enrollment students, so we can make sure they're marked as a CCR and get that credit, even though it's for dual enrollment. We have 7 partners that partner with us with dual enrollment. Most of them are local. That's Alabama State University, Auburn University, known as Auburn First, Auburn University at Montgomery, South University, Trenton State Community College, Troy University, and University of Alabama Early College. Most of our students choose to attend Alabama State, Auburn University, Montgomery, and Trenton State. So that's where most of our dual enrollment participation actually comes from. As far as eligibility and scheduling, students, the criteria for MPS dual enrollment is separate from the college dual enrollment requirements, because we do have 7 partners. So each college, of course, has their own admission requirements. But as far as MPS, it's very simple. You can be a 10th, 11th, or 12th grader to participate, have an unweighted GPA of 3.0, and then have written permission from the school at the local level, and then meet the post-secondary requirements of the institution of choice. As far as scheduling is concerned, you can see that our academic schedule runs from June to May. So we do include the summer session in there, and students are allowed to take 3 courses for the academic year. And so with 3 courses, if students start in the 10th grade, by the time they graduate, they have well over a semester worth of courses. Now, Mr. Hillary and I do encourage the students to actually take 2 courses in the summer, because they don't have to worry about their classes, especially if they're getting their feet wet. It kind of gives them a chance to explore and see if this is right for them. We also encourage summer dual enrollment because if a student withdraws from a course, the state, or even is unsuccessful, the state does require that they sit out for a semester. So if they go ahead and start in the summer, they're able to sit out and then pick back up in the spring. They can take those 3 courses, in a variety of ways. They can even do one in the summer, one in the fall, and one in the spring. And, excuse me. As far as the courses, in the back of our guide, there's a list of courses that the students are able to take for dual credit, and History 10 and 11 have also been added. Students can take these courses asynchronous, online, or face-to-face, and most of our students do choose to take these courses online. As far as tuition and fees and textbooks, those are the responsibility of students and parents, but with the MPS scholarship, we have most of them choose to utilize the scholarship. The scholarship covers a maximum of $428 per course with a max of $1,284 for the year. Students who have special accommodations, they're asked to reach out to the post-secondary institution, to the Office of Accessibility, or Student Support Services. And then as far as the program admission and approval steps, our first step is, especially in the beginning, we do ask that parents and students make an appointment and meet with their school counselor. Now, once they've done it a few semesters, they may choose to skip that particular step, but it's very important that they meet with their counselor, especially in the beginning, to kind of get a pathway of classes of dual enrollment courses that are required for graduation, and so we can make sure they're registering for the correct courses. We ask that students research with 7 different universities. Each of them do have slightly different requirements, and some of the processes for one school may be faster than another school. So we do ask that they go ahead and research which school they'd like to attend and start the process. And then after they've started the process, go ahead and complete your MPS dual enrollment paperwork, which is nothing more than the application and the scholarship form. And those are submitted at the same time. Once the counselor looks at those forms and gives the approval, we ask that within 7 days they give the approval and scholarship form back to the student so the student has a copy and can take that to their institution of choice, so that way they're looking and know exactly what courses the student has been approved and can make sure they get enrolled in the correct class. And then we also ask that the student make sure that they provide the school proof, so that way we can make sure the schedules and everything is correct.
I just want to spend a little time talking about the historical data of the program, the Montgomery Public Schools Dual Enrollment Program. So if you look at the slide that has been provided for you, in 2019-2020, we had approximately 47 students that participated. We went on to the next school year, 53 students, 21-22, 72, 22-23, we had 115, and I'm happy to announce that in the 2023-2024 school year, we had a total of 221 students that participated in the program. So we are seeing a steady increase on that program, and it should also reflect in our college and career readiness data as our report cards are released each school year. On top of that, I'm also happy to announce that this summer alone, we had 174 students who participated. So just this summer, we have already bypassed the halfway mark that we did for the entire academic school year. So just a quick update about our enrollment numbers and how our students are participating in this program. As it relates to participation in our school data, I definitely want to take the time to recognize Brewtech, BTW, Percy Julian, and Park Crossing High Schools. Those schools, especially Brewtech and BTW, they have traditionally the highest number of students who participate in the program. So I want to thank Principal Nord and the counselors at each school, Brewtech, Dr. Starks, and Counselor Graves at BTW, just for their assistance in ensuring that our students are afforded the opportunity to go through the process. Grades for courses with dual enrollment for dual credit classes are very similar to the weight that is provided for our AP classes. If a student takes a dual enrollment for dual credit class, they are graded based off of the university grading scale. That grade is then sent to us and we post it on the transcript, and it does receive the same academic weight as an AP honors or honors course. So that's just a little bit about grading. If a student does not earn a minimum of C, or they fail the course or withdraw, they are suspended for 1 term, so that's just 1 semester. If a student fails a dual enrollment course altogether, they will not receive the college credit, and likewise, if they're participating in the dual credit, they will not receive the high school credit either. And so that particular student will have to take that dual credit course if it's a graduation requirement. They will have to take it via night school or summer school, whatever their school offers for credit recovery. I'm also happy to announce that in less than 12 months, when I began the position last year, in less than 12 months, our Montgomery Public Schools dual enrollment program has expanded tremendously from not only just Montgomery Public Schools dual enrollment for dual credit, we also have a summer academy through Alabama State, and we have an early college program that began fall 2024. And so we are growing exponentially, and the combination of these programs provides a well-rounded education for our students who are participating, and it also caters to the diverse needs and providing post-secondary access to varying levels with modality and academic support. So I'm going to dive a little bit into our Montgomery Public Schools by ASU Summer Academy. This was our first summer doing this particular program, and it is an 8-week dual enrollment for dual credit institute held this summer. It was held at Lamp High School, but we will be traveling from school to school depending on the summer. Our goal was to provide a campus that was centrally located for our students who may be in far west Montgomery or far east, and Lamp kind of fell in the middle of Montgomery, so that's why we used that school. Not only is this an amazing opportunity for our students, this particular academy provided professional development opportunity for our MPS educators, because our MPS teachers are the ones who taught the dual credit classes powered by Alabama State University. So Alabama State provided the course content, they provided the course material and the syllabus, but our Montgomery Public School teachers delivered the instruction to our students. So not only did our students get an opportunity to be professionally developed, academically challenged rather, but our teachers also had an opportunity to step outside of the comfort zone of their normal day-to-day instruction in our high schools. Participating students also had access to personalized academic advisement on a bi-weekly basis. That was one of the components that was built into the program. They also had a dedicated research assistant and media specialist who was housed in the Lamp High School library. So that same on-campus experience that the students would have on campus, we were able to provide that to our students who were on Lamp's campus. They had an immersive collegiate campus experience. What we did, we had class on campus, and so as we are trying to, my big thing, Dr. King and Dr. Brown know, we're trying to increase capacity for our students to be successful. So our class on campus day was a day when we took the students, they had class on campus at an ASU campus. We ate in the cafeteria. They did some homework in the library as if they were a traditional college student, just trying to make sure that we're just not throwing them out there in the fire, that they are increasing the capacity to be successful in these programs that we're presenting. They also had an opportunity to network socially with some individuals who were on the campus to build their own personal networks. They guidance on increasing college readiness skills, that time management, and the academic preparedness versus college readiness. We kind of focused on that. And of course, the rigorous instruction with strategic academic support. So just happy to announce that we were able to do that this summer with our dual credit program. And this fall, we are also happy to announce that we are beginning our first cohort of the Montgomery Public Schools Early College Diploma Program. And with this particular program, the students will graduate with their high school diploma and an associate's degree simultaneously from Trentham State Community College. And so super excited to get this under the way. I actually have had 2 sessions with our scholar students as well as their parents, and the students will officially apply to Trentham State Community College on Thursday. The eligibility criteria for this particular program is gridlocked to students who are in the 10th grade because it is a 3-year cohorted program. They must have an unweighted GPA of a 3.0, and they have to be enrolled at this time. They need to be enrolled at a traditional MPS secondary school. And the students will graduate with an associate's degree in general education. And so they'll be able to take that particular associate's degree. If they choose to go to work, they'll be able to do that. If they choose to transfer to a 4-year university, then they will only have 2 years left, which is going to be their specific content area courses that they will have to take. So that is something else that has been beneficial to our students. And this first cohort of students are actually coming from Carver High School. The logic is that if we get them from Carver High School for cohort 1, we can do trial and error because Trenholm is right there on Air Base Boulevard and it's easily accessible to those students. And so that's what we're working on with those particular students. Just some challenges that we face with the Montgomery Public Schools dual enrollment program. Number one, obviously, is going to be program access and equity, just making sure that all of our students are afforded the opportunity to the best of our abilities to participate in these programs. And so we're going to continue to work on increasing our program access and our equity to our students in the Montgomery Public School System. Another challenge that we face that we are working diligently to overcome is the application and approval process. When we began the program a few years ago prior to my start, things were slightly different. And as we continue to grow the program, we also have to grow our processes. And so one of the things that we're working on, I've been talking with Dr. King, is establishing and collaborating with a team or advisory board so that we can create and develop a centralized and efficient application process similar to, I don't want to say the magnet school process, but how everyone applies to the magnet school through one succinct process. It's the same thing we want to do with the dual enrollment program. Not only is that going to help us as a central office to continue to grow the program, it's also going to help alleviate the additional responsibilities that may be added onto school personnel. With that in mind, we do have some program personnel constraints. Currently, there is no singular person who is responsible, and so it kind of falls in a multitude of buckets. And so as we seek to develop a centralized process, we're also going to need additional program personnel to assist us. As you saw tonight, the data shows that the program is growing exponentially, and we want to make sure that we have a strong infrastructure to support the future of the program. In addition to that, we want to make sure that our students who are participating in the program have the academic support that they need to be successful in the program. And so whether it's mentorships, whether it's additional academic tutoring, whether it is a Montgomery Public Schools student resource lab, whatever we need to do to ensure these students are successful in the program, those are the types of things that we are working diligently to get underway so that not only our students are successful, but our parents feel the support that our students are receiving as a result of the program. Some additional strategies for improvement that we have kind of been working on is the cross-institutional collaboration, just working with our post-secondary institutions on a regular basis to make sure that we are all current on what they expect of us and what we expect of them. And of course, resource allocation, just ensuring that we have the funds available, and we were afforded the opportunity to be awarded the College and Career Readiness Grant from the Alabama State Department of Education. And so that was able to pay for teachers who may have needed tuition reimbursement so they can become adjunct professors with the post-secondary institutions. And that is it on the Montgomery Public Schools dual enrollment for dual credit program. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I see two hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we ask for questions, Ms. Watkins-Smith.
Oh, I told her she could go first. I yield to her first.
Okay, Ms. Cloud.
Yes, ma'am. So there are currently no endorsements or regalia that we provide for the students, but that is on the table for the future because as our students begin to graduate with multiple indicators, we want to make sure that we are recognizing their academic achievements. And so dual enrollment will be classified as one of the indicators, and they will receive specific regalia from the central office level to wear on their commencement. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. We were like a hair too short for this past commencement, but it is on the table to get ordered roughly around December. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Well, I think y'all know me all too well. I need no introduction, but seriously, thank you for the work. And I started in on one of the committee meetings under a different leader, bringing it to you all's attention about certain things. So it is really positive to see the numbers increase. I was pretty sure Brutex was going to be high because that's where the word of mouth was spreading at first. But one of the things I was wondering, and this is because I have majority magnet schools in my district, the course offerings for the magnet schools, since I have these high schools, if there could be, I know that there are parents who would like their children to participate in it, if there could be maybe some courses offered at the level of where those students are, where they can participate in it. Because right now, I guess through the AP classes, they're like taking a lot of that stuff. So if they wanted to do something higher, that's not available at this time. I know that when I looked at the state's course offerings, I did see them on there, but if we can just kind of open that door a little wider for students in that particular sector to participate in. Really, I have no other things that I know. I may get home and it may change, Ms. Foster.
Okay, thank you.
But
Yes,
I
Ms.
do
Cloud.
appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's also important to note, specifically with one of our high schools, when the students enroll in that particular high school, they are bound to a particular scope and sequence. And so we have been working diligently just to see how dual enrollment will fit into their program, and the summer has been one of those options. In addition to that, as Ms. Watkins-Smith mentioned, the state does provide an extensive document. And so as students, as the need is increasing for higher level collegiate classes, we are more than willing and able to grant the permission for those students. We just try to keep it as streamlined as possible for the students who are currently, so there's not a lot of confusion about what's offered. But I have had parents who reach out and say, hey, can my student take so-and-so? I think Ms. Watkins-Smith even called me one day. And if it's within our wheelhouse, we're more than able to provide those opportunities. So thank you for that.
Rigor at that school, they're a challenging academic accelerated situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I do want to add, some of those students have opted to take dual enrollment only, so they are participating in a different capacity.
Well, that's good to hear. I did have one other thing, Madam Chair.
Dr. Keith had her hand up.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you.
I just wanted to make this comment. I have pushed dual enrollment since I've been on the board, which is, I feel like eons now, but it was probably my number one thing that I was really pleased with. And when you show the data that you did, especially the summer data and how we've gone up, I think kudos goes to you. Your energy level, both of y'all's energy levels, is phenomenal. I keep using that word, but I mean it. I looked at the schools, and it's kind of got just like 4 or 5 schools. A lot of it has to do with the counselor, and I'm not putting down counselor, because I spent 12 years with South University, and they are on your list. Then I'm not trying to put down South University. I loved the school. I loved everything about it. Still miss my students over there. But they are on a quarter basis and not a semester, and scheduling is a problem, and I understand that. But I hope that y'all will target some of the other schools' counselors and training. It's a little extra, but it's worth it. And I just would kind of say something that I can see as an outsider looking in. That would be a great target. And I have to say this because I'm an open book. And I say, if I don't say it now, because of the ADHD and not medicated, I won't. Our current superintendent that we have has shown us differently than our other superintendents that I pushed this with. And I think kudos goes to him for pushing dual enrollment. I mean, he said that when he came on, when we hired him, and he's been true to his word on that. So I don't know who's hired y'all. I don't know if y'all are MPS, but I am so impressed with the entire dual enrollment program. I really am.
And Dr. Keith, we do have, you did have a small cohort who are true to South, and we even have a couple students who are enrolled in South. So we do have students that participate.
Good.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Yes, and in addition to emailing these wonderful people, Lisa, Dr. Brown got the same email. So he got to see my name, and I'll say why. My daughter participates in dual enrollment, and so that's how I got to learn of it. I remember Lisa advocating for it, and I really, was trying to grasp it at that time. And once you have a child to go through it, you really get a clear understanding. But one of the things that I like about it is that it gives students the opportunity to not only challenge themselves, but to be integrated into that college environment. And what a lot of parents don't know, and I think that they fear, is that there won't be support, but there's support inside of the colleges as well, along with MPS. So it is truly a partnership that I can say I've seen and witnessed for my child. And my last comment, and they are just comments, is to say that a lot of people think that there's competition between AP and dual enrollment. It's not. It's just giving children another option to pursue their educational goals, and that's what I love about having AP and dual enrollment, because it's pretty much catered to the child. So I'll agree with you, Lisa. Dr. Brown picked up that ball, and he ran with that one.
Thank you. Thank you very
all.
much. At this time, we're looking at our facilities update.
I get to be
Dr.
Mr.
Brown.
Anderson tonight. Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Anderson is a little under the weather, so I'll try to do what I can to replace Chad today. You'll see the Volcker updates cover the first 3 items there, 3 or 4 items there. We'll go down to the Brewtech Intermediate HVAC renovation. That is 95 to 98% complete. All the classrooms are now being used by the school, so that has been taken care of and almost complete, almost done. The Brew Primary HVAC renovation is about 80% complete, and then in the final 2 phases, I would imagine they'd finish within the next 4 to 6 weeks. The Carver High School roof repair is completely done. The Brew Breaker Primary Intermediate roof replacement is 85 to 90% complete. All that's needed now, some additional metal flashing. The Morning View and Davis Elementary School design is underway. The Blunt re-roof should be completed within the next 2 weeks. The Chisholm project is complete. I love saying complete. The operations security HVAC replacement is a pre-construction meeting has been scheduled. As far as vertical surface treatment and cleanings, the latest schools to be treated are Baldwin and Chisholm. As you know, we're doing all of our schools to get that done. The Carver and Katoma re-roofs are both awaiting pre-roof conference to commence. The electric bus grant, Zoom was held this week to finalize a few details in regard to that, and our buses are being manufactured as we speak. The BTW Chapel Athletic Storage renovation, pre-construction meeting was held earlier this week, so that should be underway pretty soon, and we're going to share the last 2 items tonight, so I won't go into those 2 quite yet.
Thank you. Are there questions of Dr. Brown regarding the facilities update? Hearing no questions, we will go, Dr. Brown, to the Assistant Director of Athletics job description.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm putting before you the job description, draft job description for the District Director of Athletics. As you know, we are trying to, Assistant Director of Athletics, excuse me. As you know, we're trying to continue to expand what we do from a athletic perspective, both for middle school and for our girls. The addition of this would allow us to continue to move that forward. We have about 100 athletic facilities that we have events taking place in throughout the county, and we want to focus a lot more on middle school and girls sports and expanding those. With the addition of esports, flag football, numbers of other things, this entire scope has spread, and as much investment as we're making in our athletics, we want to continue to grow that so those kids can then matriculate to high school and perform on varsity teams and do quite well at the same time. This position, if approved, when we get to that point, would allow that to continue. We also want to make sure we pay attention to gender equity in this process, as all of our girls' sports also need someone to oversee specifically what happens in those venues to make sure we're complying with Title IX and all the other pieces of our requirements in regards to that. So this is a job description for your review. We'll have further discussion in regard to that, but certainly open to answering any questions tonight.
At this time, thank you, Dr. Brown. Are there questions regarding this job description? Okay, hearing no questions, let's see if we can get this right. At this time, we'd like to look at our middle school memorandum of understanding, and that's with Miss Jamie Wilson.
All right, now we're right here. Madam President, Dr. Brown, members of the board, I stand before you in place of Mr. Anderson to present to you an exciting partnership with the City Parks and Rec. Just to give you some overview, Mayor Reed wants to and has been very excited about reestablishing our partnership to grow middle school athletics. I have got the opportunity to learn about how strong that partnership once was with Montgomery Public Schools and Parks and Rec, and have heard lots of stories shared from that. So from this MOU, we've established a partnership. I know that Brandon Dean, the Director of Parks and Rec, Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Ruffin, our Athletic Director, have been working to ensure that they have created a MOU of agreement between both parties. This is a 3-year period that will be focusing on middle school sports. We agreed to support camps, and so there's going to be addition to middle school camps. We're going to start there with our partnership. Obviously, we are excited to grow this partnership, but right now we want to make sure that we create an action plan that is doable for both parties. We'll be responsible for making sure that our student athletes are present during the camps. We will work with our coaches to establish camp directors and to make sure that we avoid any AHSAA violations. Ooh, that's a mouthful. We'll also, the city has agreed to pay $100,000 per year to support additional coaches under the MPS umbrella. Again, if we're going to expand, if we're going to be able to compete, we want to make sure that we're also able to provide salaries for those positions. Mr. Watts was excited about that offering as well. We'll continue to work on the MOU. We are working with Board Attorney Powell to make sure that we add any liability clauses in there. There'll be a statement for liabilities for both parties, and that will be up for approval next month.
Thank you. Are there questions? Are there questions of Ms. Wilson regarding the MOU? Thank you again, Ms. Wilson. Okay, next, there were interest expressed in discussing a few items as new business items, and I'm just going to double check to see if your answers have been covered. Dr. Keith, emergency certs.
All I really want to know, and we don't have to know today, I just kind of want to know what we're doing about a mentor program or something like that, because when I saw the numbers at these elementary schools that, especially when Dr. Mackey just came out with the math and reading scores, we've got, too many, we've got 29 at one school, 19 at another, emergency certified teachers. And I get it, but I just think, I guess because I'm really in the trenches. I've got my son, I decided to say a second year with Griff at Success Unlimited, and I know how hard I'm working with him. And I just, I've talked to other board members, and I said that means that there's 40% Griffs out there. And that's scary, and I'll tell you why, because we can hire these emergency certificate teachers. We could hire my son right now, but I refuse to let that happen because I just don't think he's ready. And I think even this year I had one assistant principal say, "Hey, send him over here. I'll help him," and he wouldn't even consider it. And the reason being is I don't think teachers understand that when they take this job, one, they've never done an internship. Two, when you get inside a normal classroom, there are the kids that have not been labeled. There are the kids that are autistic. There are the normal kids. There are the kids that have the A's and B's, the kids that have behavior problems. And you're sticking a brand new, out of college person having absolutely no training in education into that. And I know we have to have some kind of a mentor program to just, go in there, because I know what I'm dealing with. They get in there and they get scared. And I'll be honest, even last year, I heard from teachers, won't say which schools, that left midway because they were like, I can't do this. I'm scared for the safety of my students. They want to go in and teach, but they don't understand, hey, I'm going to have behavior problems. And then what do I do? So I just want to, as new business, I just kind of wanted to put it out there. I do think it's something that we as a board have to sit together and come up with some kind of a program where we can kind of monitor what's happening per school, especially in those schools with such high
Thank you.
numbers.
Ms. Murray, did you want to speak to that?
We get to see your Olympic colors.
So HR has been in contact with the Alabama State Department of Education, specifically working with the state coordinator for certification to get some technical assistance on how we could better support our teachers on emergency certifications. Historically, what MPS has done is provide routine updates as far as timelines are concerned for our teachers who are on emergency certs, but we know it requires more than that. With the collaboration and approval from finance, they don't know this yet, but we do have an idea about engaging retired teachers, because we have had a number of teachers to retire in the past school year, including former retired teachers, to engage them to be mentors for our teachers on emergency certs, as well as thinking about utilizing our current teachers who are certified as mentors as well, because some of them not long went through this process, and they could actually be mentors as well as tutors, because they not long probably took the praxis exam. Some additional support that the Alabama State Department of Education's certification liaison provided was the fact that there are other school districts that we can partner with, facilitated by the state, we could partner with to go through some additional training as far as supporting our teachers on emergency certs. For example, instead of the routine updates and timelines, putting some formal and specific practices in place to keep them on track before they get to that last emergency cert, and then it's too late, and then we're in the non-renewal process. So those are some examples.
And I want to add this. It's going to sound like a martyr in myself, but if we ever do an in-service, I love to train teachers. I train teachers all the time, so yeah, and you don't have to pay me. It'd be totally free. Y'all may go, what the heck? But I think if you watch me for 30 minutes, and kudos to myself, Ms. Mitchell will tell you how I teach. Can I teach? Come on now. I'm volunteering myself that they could come up here in a training room, and you could let me just go one time, and I bet you'd ask me back.
Okay, we'll see.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Cloud.
I want to say thank you, because now with the literacy test that we have to provide, the ACAP, and then the math is coming on the heels, we need this, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for responding to us. Ms. Erica Watkins-Smith had a couple of topics. I think we look pretty good when it comes down to dual enrollment, yes? Her other topics were AP and dress codes?
It was 3.
Okay.
And I'll be brief on all 3 of them. The AP courses, and Dr. Brown and I had a conversation about this, is making sure that our teachers are AP College Board certified. That was an issue that was brought to my attention, as well as making sure that students are being enrolled in the AP courses to take the AP exam. So if the teacher is not AP College Board certified, they don't have a clear understanding of how to do those processes. Now, there have been people who've come in and shown them, but I just wanted to just put that on the record that that does need to be looked into, because that's another way to pull our students in and get them prepared for college and career, whatever, and to be ready for that. My second thing was dress code. I think we all got a letter from a student and a whole petition went around. And I know school has started, so I'm not advocating against anything, kind of, sort of, I'm not anyway. But I do want to just make sure that the students' voices who put the petition together and signed it and made videos and everything, but that their voice was brought to this board table. I think that their asks are really small, especially with explanations. Like, I talked to some students about cargo pants, and I said, look, the culture has shifted a little bit, and that may be a situation that could put you in harm's way. We talked about hoodies, and some of them use them as almost like a security blanket, if you will, maybe to hide something, having body issues, or just dealing with depression, and they looked at it as a way to just have it as a supporting mechanism. The other thing that we talked about was the skirts. It says it has to be 2 inches above the middle of your knee. And listening to students saying, I'm not comfortable with someone touching me, to find out if my dress, or my skirt rather, is 2 inches above the middle of my knee. So I'm one that always talks about social justice in education. I'm the one that I'm not saying nobody else does, but that's just been my position since I've been on the board. And just saying that let's look at some of our policies, especially when it's geared towards students, to make sure it's not punitive. My concern is that the environment will become so restrictive that you won't have children engaging. You'll have suspensions because, hey, you had this on. I think the goal should be to keep them in there as much as we can and keep them safe, but just have some conversation with the students, because this is why we are all here, and include them and allow their voices to belong. And I'll send an email on the specifics of what their requests were for me to bring to Dr. Brown. My last one is policy. I got many phone calls before school started with lots of questions about different things, from magnet schools, which was primarily the biggest questions, and what those policies and procedures look like. And MTSS was one. And some policies, well, we're a governing and policy board, and we do give authorization for certain policies to be made. However, we have to have those policies to come before us before it goes to the public, because if there is pushback, and there will be, it always falls on us before it falls on the superintendent or anybody else in this room that works for the superintendent, because our title says governance and policy. So when policy goes out and we're unfamiliar with it, it puts us at a disadvantage, and we're trying to explain things and investigate things at the same time. So I'll just say, I know something came up recently before I got here about the student code of conduct, and it was a policy, and I said, I have no idea what it is, because I have not seen the student code of conduct. I don't know what's in there, but I'll look into it and see. So I spoke with a former board member about it to see if I was even right for bringing this topic up, and they said, yes, you all have to have policies brought before you before they go out into the public, and it's just so we can all be on the same page as a team. And that's my 3 topics.
Thank you very much. And the third item that I will, I apologize. Yes, is this a response to?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
In addition to, we're talking about the clothing and different articles. Something has come to my attention. It is the motor boards and the tassels at graduation.
Oh, yeah.
That's been handled.
You promise? Okay.
Yes, we're not taking their caps from them.
Thank you.
I think that was the connotation, that was baseball caps and that sort of thing, not their caps for their
Not their motor
regalia.
boards.
No.
With their tassels.
No.
Because they get a real kick out of changing
That
that
would be,
over.
that would be asinine for us to do that.
Thank you. I just wanted to make it clear to everyone.
Thank you. The third item should not be considered new business because I brought it up several times, but I have gotten a couple of inquiries, and I do not want anybody to think that we are not looking at renewing our superintendent's contract. A lot of questions have come to me. We have seen in the news nationally how many districts are in an upheaval because they are making a lot of shifts. We would love, love, love to maintain a level of stability. So it is incumbent upon us to make some decisions about where we want to go, how we want to move. So this board will begin its discussions about our superintendent, maintaining our superintendent, and what kinds of things would go into the contract negotiations in order to do that. So hopefully you will shoot your questions or concerns or interests to my email so that we can begin our discussions and try and move forward. I think that's all that we had. Anyone else? Okay. There being no further business to come before this body, I will make the announcement that our next meeting is September 10, 2024. This meeting is adjourned.